What is up, everyone? Just forgot to change my shirt. Make sure we're all good. We'll say hi to everybody. All right. We'll get into it. Delphi won. If you were following the poll, no surprises there, really, I guess, right? I am going to get everyone out of here. It's warm here today. No air conditioning yet because I'm cheap. I'm going to get everyone out of here at 8 o'clock tonight. If you guys don't know, Fig's going to be on Gray Hughes. So that should be a pretty interesting show. And I'm sure the chat's going to be pretty legendary too. So I'm pretty sure Frank isn't going tonight. He didn't text me that he was. So, but anyways, we'll cover a little bit about my feelings. I have a couple slides to show you that I made for why I think Richard Allen's guilty. We'll talk real quick about the motion that was made. We're not covering the trial in this one. I usually don't because I'm really not versed in it. I'm not going to read the motions that were released, the paperwork that was released today. It's on my community page, Frank's, Turbos. You know, you go to your normal people, they have it out. But I'm going to show you a couple videos from the prosecutor's podcast that I keep talking about. It was actually 2 weeks ago. They explained what was going to happen, and here it is happening. So I'm just starting with the comments here in the middle. I'm going to get to the top. Yeah, Fig and Gray tonight, Mary, at 8 o'clock. And I assume that's Eastern time. You guys know that I really like Fig a lot. What's up, Metal Mama? CJK. Rescue all the dogs. Everybody's in tonight. So, yeah, if you didn't know about it, it's 8 o'clock. I just saw it recently. I don't know if it was something that just came up or not. I don't watch a lot of Gray's channel. It just there's so many people in there. You know what I mean? It's a little bit intimidating, even for a wordsmith like myself, because I don't type as quick as I talk. I'd walk into a room with 1,000 people and be able to talk to everybody or get my shit in, if you will. But chat room is a little different. What's up, Miss P? 63 Clocks, how are you? Frosty had some coverage of some, I don't know if you put it on your page or not, there were some riots in Indiana University. I think with the Palestinian Iran thing. I got to say, I don't follow a lot of national news anymore. What's up, Jill? How are you? We've had absolutely beautiful weather. I think it's like 85 right now here. No humidity yet. We'll be getting that, but with my arthritis, I don't care about it anymore. I like it. The humidity. I could take 20 showers a day. My mom was up the street. She got a pool. We always congregate there. Well, thank you, CJK. You're one of them, and I bragged a little bit. I said I think I have the best community. No offense to other communities. Some of you are in multiple. What's up, Brandon? How are you? But I'm going to get you out. So if you didn't know, if you just want to go watch it, I'm going to go watch it. I think it'll be very interesting. Julianne, how are you? Good to see you. There's Jinx doing her thing, of course. Mommy Wolverine. What's up, Miranda? Miranda voted on Delphi. Someone I think was Hiawatha voted for the serial killer stuff. I'll get back to that eventually. Not blocked here, Miranda, I don't think. I could see your comments. I don't know if everyone else can. I don't think I only have 3 people blocked. And I guarantee you 2 of them are watching right now. Say hello. You can't say hello back. I'll take your hello back or your fuck you, which you might be saying too. Either way. Grandmommy Longlegs, how are you? Good to see you. James, what's up? Fig called in the other evening and put that video. Yeah. Well, tonight at 8, I'm not really sure what the yeah, Miranda. I was kind of hoping so too. There you are, James. How are you? Hello, Karen. How are you? Yeah, I'm always up for talking about Flora. I talked to Kathy. There were some miscommunications on Facebook, and somebody, kind of lashed out at her. And she didn't. The family member didn't think it was that. So it wasn't Kathy's fault, but we talked about it. Some other people reached out to me and said, "Are you going to do anything Mother's Day week again?" Well, luckily for me, next Monday we're leaving. Me and my girlfriend going to Key West for Monday through Friday. My birthday is, I think, Wednesday of next week. It's the 7th. I'm not even sure what day it is. So I don't know. I'm sure I'll do videos from down there. I don't know if I'll do anything, but it's the week before the trial. I was talking to Frank today. Frank's trying to figure out how to get up there, scraping together a little bit, whatever he can. So, if anyone is nice enough that was going to do a donation for me tonight, instead of doing it for me, send it to Frank's, something for Frank, so he can help him get up there with the trial. I know there are people trying to help him, but anyways, let's get into it. Oh, there she is. My birthday's Tuesday. She knows. You should have seen his dinner she just made me. All gluten-free. Almost ravioli. Yeah, they are like cheese raviolis with sun-dried tomatoes, garlic, olive oil, Brussels sprouts, mushrooms, a big salad with black olives, not green, black olives. Yeah, anyone has any tips for Key West, places to see, kevlar148gmail.com. Let me know. And I'm gluten-free. I think I was talking to Melissa in the post this morning about that. Yeah, if anyone, what I mean, if you're not going to do anything, that's fine for me. I'm okay. We're good. I'm glad you're here talking. But, he's not the asking type, but, there has to be arrangements made, probably a hotel. If anyone knows anyone in that area that has like an Airbnb or something, and you give them like, a veterans discount or something, or anything in that area. So, let it know. Geckos. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we heard about the chickens running the streets, the roosters. Yes, Mary Margaret. They've come a long way. I've only been I've had celiac for 3 years, but they've come a long way. And Brooke has it figured out. The cooking absolutely has it figured out. So let's get into it. We told you we had beautiful weather. The Steelers have had a good draft. They got a guy from Michigan, which I love. Like I told you, going away next week. So I'm going to show you 2 videos first. It's from the Prosecutors Podcast. I've shared it multiple times in my community page, Discords, everywhere that I can. It's only about an hour long if you watch the whole video, maybe slightly over an hour. I'm not exactly sure. But it is very key for you to watch this. They did this 2 weeks ago. They knew what was coming, right? And I guess if you're a lawyer, you understand what sides are posturing, what that means, like you would in any other field. Like if you were a doctor and you had certain symptoms, that he probably has this wrong with him, because I've seen it 100 times before. So these attorneys have seen it 100 times before. So they don't make any guesses on what's going to happen as far as there will be a plea. They think that there'll be a delay, and they'll say, oh, we got all this stuff late and everything. And I thought I was right about that. Them saying they got this stuff late, it's not true. They pointed out the dates. Watch the whole video. But I got 2 quick clips I want to show you from this video. So let me go to my present mode and show them to you. They're each, I think, maybe 2 minutes long. And again, it's the Prosecutors Podcast on YouTube. Just go ahead and go to my community page. They're all over I shared it when I first watched it. And I shared it today. I added it to a post, and I just actually shared it again. But I made 2 little clips here I'm going to show you. And let me get this all set up for you, right? So we're in the right situation on here. Okay.
It doesn't mean that they get to say whatever they want.
Let me let this catch up to make sure we are on the right page. Here we go. Again, the Prosecutors Podcast is Brett and Alice. They have tremendous play with each other. They're not together or anything romantically, I'm pretty sure, but they're just really good. They're really funny. Young, energetic people. They're younger than I am, I'm pretty sure, so I'll call them young people. And so this was 2 weeks ago. This was the motion that was made today that if I try to pronounce it, I'm not going to say it right. But it basically means like, what are you going to let in? Or, you do all this ahead of time. So this is the some other dude did it defense, if you would. And these are the things that you need to hit. You can't just say, oh, some other guy did this. These people did this, which I never knew that. But here's a really good explanation. So let's listen to it. This is quick. It's only a 56-second video. So listen to it. I think it's tremendous information. But go follow these 2 subscribe to them, share them, and go watch this video. It's called, at the top, as you see, the legal briefs in Delphi. Some other dude did it. I think it's the last live that they did. Here we go.
And when we say complete defense, that doesn't mean that they get to say whatever they want. It means any defense within the rules of evidence that they want to present, they should be able to do so. And one of the basic components of that right is the right to present evidence. In this case, evidence that someone else might have been involved in the crime. But in Indiana and in every state, quote, a criminal defendant does not enjoy an unlimited constitutional right.
This is not Carroll County's corrupt, slick Nick, yay, I'm helping, that type of stuff. This is a law of the land, right? So if you don't like this law, you need to get to the legislators that write this law in every state, the Supreme Court, before it gets to Carroll County or to Allen County, wherever else. Okay, I just wanted to say that.
To offer exculpatory evidence. And that's from Hubbard v. State.
Real quick, last time, exculpatory evidence is something that would make, the guy's innocent. If someone else did this crime or whatever, it's probably not a great definition, but you hear that term a lot.
Which is an Indiana Supreme Court case. And we're going to talk a lot about Indiana cases because we're just going to view this through the lens of Indiana because of Delphi. But if you look in any state and in the federal government, you'll see a lot of cases saying very similar things. At the end of the day, this is pretty much a constitutional question. So you see a lot of uniformity across the states, though, as we pointed out before, not total uniformity. Trial. Now, when we say
so basically, that's a quick understanding here. He gives a really a good job of it. But let me show you the next video I have for them where it's explained a little bit more. And again, I think it's only 56 seconds too. So real quick, and then we'll see what you have to say and discuss. Then I'll show you a couple of slides that I have. Let's share this tab instead. Let's make it nice and big. Okay. Alice goes in on this. You hear from both of them here.
Even if it looks like it's a viable or maybe a good theory to put forth for the alternate suspect, if the investigation had excluded them definitively for he has a rock solid alibi, there's no other way that he could have committed this crime, that's going to factor into the court's analysis as to whether the alternative suspect can come in as evidence.
And, it's hard not to read through these and not think about the Odinism thing. Obviously, the defense may have a more sophisticated argument for Odinism than they did when they initially discussed it. But you may recall that their chief suspect was at work that day and has an alibi. And they basically speculated, well, maybe one of his cult members did it for him while he was at work. And maybe he met them afterwards, and that's what happened, right? That's going to be a problem.
Let me play this for you one more time. It's only a minute long, but really focus in. This is key, I think. Again, this was 2 weeks ago. They knew what was coming. But again, the last live they did, the Prosecutors Podcast, I encourage you all to go watch it after you watch Gray Hughes and Fake Tonight or whatever you do. In the next day or two, try to get to it and watch it. But here we go again. One more time.
Even if it looks like it's a viable or maybe a
good
for
education, boy, are we
for the
learning,
alternate suspect.
I like to learn.
If the investigation had excluded them definitively for he has a rock solid alibi, there's no other way that he could have committed this crime, that's going to factor into the court's analysis as to whether the alternative suspect can come in as evidence.
We already know what the people are going to say that think Richard Allen's innocent. They investigated and that's the law. I didn't know this till 10 days ago till I watched this, but that's the law. Again, if you don't like the law, you need to get to a senator or people that make the laws in Congress or wherever else. But that's the law. That's just how it is, right or wrong. But this was something I never even knew any of this existed. I'm just trying to share it with you. So hopefully you guys
and
out too.
It's hard not to read through these and not think about the Odinism thing. Obviously, the defense may have a more sophisticated argument for Odinism than they did when they initially discussed it, but you may recall that their chief suspect was at work that day and has an alibi. And they basically speculated, well, maybe one of his cult members did it for him while he was at work. And, maybe he met them afterwards. And that's what happened, right?
Maybe pigs will fly to Richard Allen's ass someday too. But again, something I never knew about this evidence. So and again, I'm sure that the defense diaries are going to do a show on this, I would assume, and it'd be worth watching it. I enjoy the show. I don't agree with them on this case, and they're defense attorneys, so that, whatever. I'm a fireman. I'm sure we could sit down and have beers together and never talk about anything true crime related and probably have a blast. Maybe smoke a joint or two. I don't know if they're into that or not. Attorneys I know that like to partake, I don't know if they do or not. But if they did, let Coach Kev know. We can facilitate that. But if not, that's okay too. I would think that they would have their slant on this too tonight, and then they would probably try to show some other cases. But they show you 3 or 4 cases from Indiana in that live. So I really, really encourage you to go watch it. Let's see what everyone has to say about it. Then I got a little slideshow made up. Nothing on the level of like Mr. Steve's slideshow. It's very novice. Actually, it's just a bunch of pictures that I'm going to show you in order, like it's a slideshow. So it's really not even a slideshow. Aren't they all booked? I don't know, Miranda, as far as that goes. Now, again, the other thing that you have too to worry about is this thing going to go back? Is this, are they going to delay it? Or is it going to, we don't know that, but again, you can't wait. I talked to him today, and he ain't the kind to be like, hey, I want, so I didn't even actually get his permission to do this. So I hope he doesn't get mad. We have a Trader Joe's, Miranda. Yeah, we've been. It's a little bit of a drive down in town in Pittsburgh, where the roads are just it sucks to get around. You're going all good, then boom, there's like cars parked in the lane of traffic, and then you're going all straight, and boom, you got to make a left and a right, and then another left to stay on the same street at times. I think Jinx is getting something up for him. Yeah, that's one of the things me and Frank talked about today. We talked briefly on the phone a lot, and it's almost over. Whatever it is, it's almost over. So Richard Allen could be convicted, and there could be an appeal or whatever, but we are still, I came into this, my own research before I did a true crime channel. I did that on the 22nd, December 31st, 2022. But I started probably really getting into this in maybe January of 2022. No, actually it was like November 2021. So I'm 4 years late. And it seemed that like that first part of the case lasted forever. Who did it? We're running names down. Everybody's checking into everybody. It's kind of like the Wild West Delphi days. When you look back at this case, those were the Wild West days, right? But then you get somebody and you get some structure to the case and you get a direction. Law enforcement thinks it's this. And then, the people go back and forth or whatever. But it's definitely been through many different phases. And we need to have Flora get to that phase. Absolutely. And I think it will. I really do. What's up, Melissa? I think Melissa was asking about gluten-free. But yep, it was actually probably almost 3 years to the day. It was right before my birthday in 2021. Because I remember them. I'm like a human fountain. I have horrible pain. And they're giving me a COVID test. I'm like, I clearly don't have COVID. If you stick that thing up my nose, I'm going to bleh. And I did. There's Frank Meister's Cash App. Tell him it's for trial, but don't tell him the Coach Kev sent you. I don't think Frank will get mad, but I'm going to help him out too with something, whatever you could get, lay by. Frank just living on a disabled veteran's pension, and Frank has more subscribers to me, but I don't know how much you think people make on YouTube. He has probably like 500 more than me. So we're in the same realm, so to speak, probably money wise. It's not a lot, but it's awesome when anyone does it. It really is. Cause it's like, wow, that's really cool. You're like 7 people gave me $75 last night. Cause they like, the content I put up, and there is a lot of time behind the scenes. Frosty on another cruise. All right. Well done. Well put. Delphi Dummies, what's up? How are you? Yeah, Frank's phone gets charged 4 times a day. I can see it. All right, everybody. Now I'm going to show you a couple of things. So we're talking Delphi, the nuts and bolts of the case. So the last 40 minutes or so we'll have here. I'm going to lay out my personal reasons for believing that Richard Allen is guilty of this crime. And I was 75% at one point, kind of eked up to 80. And like the more stuff came out, and the more stuff that from the defense that came out made me think that defense doesn't necessarily have a defense. Does that make sense? Like there's nothing there that they were able to come out and one of the big things, but again, they have not been able to answer these questions for me. So let me go ahead and show you my little thing that I made up here for you. We'll do that first, and then we'll get back up on here. We'll get out of the legal brief thing and get into the pictures that I did, and I want to show you. Let's see what order they came out in. Well, so much for it being a mystery, I guess, huh? If anyone can see that real quick. We're going to share right there. We should be good to go. Okay, number one, Richard Allen. He put himself there, right? He put himself there, and there's a rebuttal to this, and I know what the rebuttal is. Well, he told Dolan, who has it written down but not recorded. I don't have an explanation for why Dolan doesn't have his shit recorded. He should have to answer for that if he doesn't. If that's all true, and everyone else is recorded, then there's an issue there. There's something that needs to be something or other, right? I need to know what happened there. He then changes once he gets lawyers and says, no, I was there from this time. It doesn't matter. He said he was there, and there's two independent sets of witnesses. One is a single witness, Betsy Blair, and the other are the girls that put him there. Their time links it. It doesn't matter what he says anymore, right? Initially, he said probably the actual time he was there because he knew the time that he saw them girls or about what time, and he knew that he would never would have went to, in my opinion, called Skinner, who called Dolan. He never would have went in if he didn't see those girls there. So Betsy Blair, one end of the bridge, and why didn't they believe Betsy Blair? Because she smoked some pot. I mean, that cop's got some explaining to do on that one. Are you fucking kidding me? You're in Indiana, rural Indiana, where meth is a huge problem. Shouldn't you want everyone in there to smoke weed instead of doing meth? But I digress. So he could say what he wants. They're witnesses who aren't with each other, that don't know each other at two different spots that could put him at one end of the trail and put him on the bridge. So that to me is the timeline. People are like, oh, the timeline. The timeline's the concrete. I think it's one, in my opinion, it's one of the strongest things the state has is the timeline. So again, he could say whatever he wants to say, but this one people have argued a little bit, and they say, well, what's a guilty person supposed to act like? There's no this or that. And if you over assert yourself and say that you're innocent, that, an innocent person act like, if you're innocent, blah, blah, blah. No, innocent people, if you're a child, if you're accused of killing two little kids, you go, the first interview on the 13th, which we don't know what came of that because he didn't confess to anything in that one, right? He did the 26th. I'm pretty sure there's some kind of confession there because they're fighting tooth and nail to get it out of there, right? And what the argument that they're going at is like, well, he didn't know what he was saying, or whatever he said doesn't count. He said something that fucked him on October 26th. In his letter to the judge, or his letter to the warden, or to the whatever the hell it was, I think it was the judge. He also wrote a letter to the warden, which I said months ago that he's going to confess to that. We never actually got that out, but now we know that one of the letters one of the confessions was a letter to the judge. It was almost like he's Jack the Ripper. Hey, boss man, and write his letter. And I'm not saying that's the case here, but so it made me think of that. He has all this dirt, myself and a mercy to court. Me. The transcript portion that his defense let out, that October 26th interview must be a goddamn slugfest for Richard Allen, because the best that his defense could find was those things that they put in there, and they did not make him look innocent in one way, shape, or form at all. They made him look to lean guilty. If you don't know anything about the case and you read that, like, these are odd things to say. Why would he say that? Why would he say this? This is kind of an odd reaction. My reputation, where's my car? My reputation, he does mention his wife once. It's just bizarre. There's no, like, I'm getting out of here, whatever. You're going to fight the Miranda or this or that. But I think that what appears to be the law, and I don't know it as well as others, that's he's good. They're covered on that. But there's none of this. There's none of this. There's no declaration of it. The attorney said, our client said he was innocent. They said it in a press conference. That's kind of was it. So those are things that when you get accused of a crime like this, I mean, you talk about heinous, goodness gracious. Confession Mania, right? Richard Allen, Confession Mania, with 30 people. What's interesting now is I'm pretty sure, and someone told me this a while back, and I wasn't sure if they were onto it or not, that he's going to add some confessions later that are bullshit confessions. How do you know which confessions that are bullshit confessions that he was probably told to say? There's going to be a list of them, and the defense is going to try to call them to trial, because those will be the people, out of the 30, these 3 guys' confessions we want to listen to, the other 27 we don't. More importantly, the confessions to prominent females in his life. We don't know how he grew up. We knew that he was adopted. We don't know if he's like a mama's boy, and I'm a mama's boy. There's nothing wrong with that. But, if you're going to break down to someone and you're really going to, have your come to Jesus moment, if you will, your mom, your wife, too, probably it's going to go to you. There's not going to be the last people that you confess to. Maybe you did it to other people there. We don't know that. When people say that he gave these erroneous confessions, we know a couple of them were, but they're people, they're other inmates in the jail. We don't know what the confession was to Holman that first day that they went out of there, right? I think there's some sort of confession in there to Jerry Holman. I didn't see that. No one told me that. That's my 2 cents. But they were trying to get rid of that like it's the goddamn bubonic plague. But who he confessed to. Now, eventually, we need to see not just the transcripts. You'd like to hear it. Hear his tone of voice. Hear what's happening. Hear what's being said. And then go from there. But I can't think of another case where someone's had this many confessions. It's kind of crazy. Afterwards, some of these guys, they won't shut the fuck up. Now, here's probably the most controversial one, if you don't think any of the other ones were controversial yet. Okay. Number 4, the second presser. If scripted by the behavioral analysis units of the FBI, the criminal profilers, they absolutely nailed the profile. I mean, nailed the profile. Let me explain to you what I mean. Again, Jim Clemente, one of the people I absolutely love and fanboy over, former criminal profiler, former prosecutor. He's I'm not a huge fan of the Mindhunter or of the Criminal Mind Show, believe it or not. I like them shows to be more gritty, swearing. Like, it needs to be more real, a little bit more real to me. Maybe that's my experience in the fire department, maybe jaded me. I don't know. But anyways, so Mindhunter, those shows are good. They're real gritty, adult rated R type shit. So if he said this, and I showed you that, the Delphi case, episode 1, 2, 3, best case, worst case scenario, Jim Clemente, a couple other retired people, says that he knows basically from his contacts that was totally scripted, right? What do I get it to when I say it's totally scripted? What did they mean they nailed it? They nailed it because Doug Carter, a couple of things he says. The Shaq thing, I still don't understand. I don't know. It has something to do with it. It ain't Doug Carter just blowing off at the lips, and it's not just some shit that was just put in there, specifically put in there for a specific reason. And I don't know what that is yet. And I'd really like to know it. I don't have to know it, but it intrigues me greatly because that's all the criminal psychology thing right there. That's right up my alley. But what he says is you have a little bit, the guy's a visualizer. They're using visual things. So that tells me this guy's a visualizer. It makes sense to the cameras, to the pictures. Some people take things and will sit there and smell them. And, killers will take mementos. This guy's looking at things. He's a visualizer, which was a John Kelly profile he put out about the Delphi killer. He was a visual stimuli guy. So he's doing these different things, and I think he's coached by the BAU to do this based on what Jim Clemente said. Now, I know other people said Jim Clemente had it wrong, and maybe he did, but until someone else higher up from Jim Clemente from the BAU speaks, I'm going to go with Jim Clemente said. And again, remember, the BAU has never spoken, and when they are spoken, I'm assuming it's going to be a court, and I think they're going to come out and say, no, we much like Professor Turco, we knew right away that this is bullshit. There's no owing this thing here. Right? They wanted Turco's name. Oh, he said this. Oh, no, he didn't say this now. Now we don't want him to testify. We want him to get out of here. So if they did, this guy, you're hiding in plain sight, all that stuff, if that's the profile, I mean, the behavioral analysis unit, if we find out that that's how it worked, we might see the profile, we might not, but they might have absolutely nailed this to a T, what it was. So more has to come out, but I'm leaning heavily toward this way. That's just my opinion. That is my opinion. That's my stance on it, okay? Number 5, the box. What is the box, right? The box. Come to think of it now, I should have put a little Brad Pitt head on there. What's in the box? The box. So again, where I attack everything from the profiling and criminal psychology. That whole type of thing is really, really what interests me. And that's really what brought me to YouTube to do this stuff, to keep it real with you. That box is stored, and we're not exactly sure. It's not under the bed. It's like between two closets or something, but it's in the bedroom. It's in a place of prominence. What I would call a place of prominence, what other people, experts, much more expert than me, will call a place of prominence. What's in there? A clip missing a bullet, maybe from the day. It could be, right? From that 40 cal, and 2 cell phones. I project, and I'm telling you that I believe, this is my theory, that they're burner phones, that those were the 2 phones that were used either that day. I think he used one that day, and he had one before that he was using for CSAM, right? I do believe that. What if he says, oh, well, how come the CSAM thing charges didn't happen? Well, because if they have to put the CSAM charges on the table right now, my opinion only, there's people that they're still tracking down, because from Keegan Klein's phone, they launched the biggest CSAM investigation in the history of Indiana. So there's probably still people who are trying to find out. And when they do put the charges on Allen for CSAM, if they, if he's the life in prison, is it worth to do it? I don't know. Then you'll find more out. But those 2 phones, in my opinion, are 2 burner phones. And again, I told you my theory is it was Abby that was the target. Abby showed signs of undoing, which to me is she was redressed. Libby was left the way that she was. He got to the point where he started putting sticks on him. So it wasn't like he was going to redress Abby. In my opinion, he was putting sticks on the cover to make like a canopy or a blind, so it'd be hard to see. And then, they figure out what we're going to do later, or, whatever the case may be. Maybe it was a planned abduction. Maybe whatever happened there. Okay. Not to quote Phil Leotardo in The Sopranos, but this is it. This is the keepsake box. He doesn't have this on his dresser. It's not on a mantle. Bedroom's a place of prominence. That's what in my opinion, I think it is. And again, if you go back to the press conference, that maybe that's what Tarter meant too. You might have a little bit of conscience left. I think Libby ruined the thing for him. He thought I was going to meet Abby and try to explain, hey, I'm not this young guy, but hey, I'm cool and I'm hip, which he wasn't. And could have been booze. We know he was off that day. I don't know if he was on anything else. He was in a stressed situation with his wife being away. Number one, first and foremost, and for anyone that thinks he's innocent, the number one question, if someone would say Richard Allen's 100% innocent, number one question I would ask him is, what's his alibi? What's his alibi? He doesn't have one. No one's provided one. They haven't provided an alibi for Richard Allen that I've seen. Nothing. So, is that one of the reasons they wanted to fight the Rite Aid? I call it Rite Aid. The video from where he worked, I don't know if it is or not. But there's no alibi. How could people be so sure that this man didn't do it, who said he was at the trail, right? First, he said he was there from, I think, 1:30 to 3 or whatever, and then he got moved up to 12:30. Well, he could just show his phone information, because he said he was looking at fish. He was on the bridge looking at fish. Now, whether he went out there to look at fish or went out there to walk and just so happened to be on that second overlook when Betsy Blair walked up looking at fish, whatever. And he said he was on a stalk tracker. But your phone isn't with you. Why wouldn't you bring your phone with you? Why would you look up a stalk tracker on a burner phone? If I'm correct, theorizing here, we're going to find this out. But at the end of the day, there's no alibi. I mean, looking back at it, if you don't know this case and these are the facts of the case, this is a fact, and you're used to the justice system, you're going to say this does not look good for the defense. It looks weak. What's he going to say? So I showed you early on, can they show you these things in court? And the answer pretty much is no. Unless there's something that they can pull out that they didn't show already. Go back and watch The Prosecutors, guys. It's a fantastic show. It really is. Go back and check it out. But, if they're not going to be able to put this on, what are they going to say? What's going to be the argument, do you think, if they can't say the names, any of the names listed? Now, it's possible they could say no odinist, but Ron Logan and Keegan Klein are in because of, the FBI wrote a search warrant there. So it's very interesting. But apparently, I hope I have this right, apparently there'll be a hearing on this. And before the trial, and the judge will rule and say, yeah, all these people could be in, some of them could be in, none of them could be in, whatever the case may be. But again, you have Brad Holder on a truck, in his truck, getting checked in. The lady's the only one that could fix it. And then the defense says, well, maybe one of his cult members did it. Come on. Are you fucking kidding me? Enough. It's enough. With him. I'd rather hear about an Odinist sacrifice than him, and he gets on and makes videos and he jags everyone off and people get all fired up. Well, that's what he wanted to do. I'm interested to see if there'll be any legal action after this from any of those people. I'm pretty sure there'll be some from the family, from people, and that'll be across the board, and that'll be well-deserved, and that'll be slam dunk time. I think they'll dunk on people at the end here, in my opinion. I don't know anything for sure. Let's see what you guys have to say. Oh, and a couple of things real quick before we get into it, and I can put this paper down. I didn't list a couple things in there for my reasons. One of them was the Down the Hill audio. I cannot definitively say that's Richard Allen's voice. Certainly sounds like it, right? It doesn't sound like Ron Logan's Down the Hill. And I'm sure he was really going over the top saying that, but I'm sure that heel is kind of in there. But I can't say that for sure. Maybe there'll be more comparison, maybe some scientific explanation, like this is definitely his voice, whatever. And the video, the Bridge Guy video itself, I can't say that that's him. It looks like him. It's the right height. I believe that the height is is the correct height. And they're going to be able to show what that is there. I think that was always a wives' tale. Oh, they don't know what the height was or this or that. I think that that's BS. That's just my opinion. And I can't see how you can't measure a railroad tie and then go from there. I think the guy, I want to say his name is wrong. His name was Paul. He emailed me a thing based on the girl's height. The video was taken that day at that time, in my opinion. Whether it was actually uploaded or just saved somehow on the phone, whatever the case was, I don't think it was taken from somewhere else. And here's the other interesting thing. All the people to state list, there's no family members or anything. You're not going to say anything about that, right? But you know why? Because nobody is. The defense isn't. So the people that think the family's involved still, my question to you would be, is the defense in on a conspiracy to them? They must be, right? They know, if they know the families are involved and they're not bringing it up, they're bringing up an Odinist sacrifice, which as far as we can tell has never happened. The Odinist religion, human sacrifice, white supremacists sacrificing white supremacists. Can't find it anywhere. I can't. I don't know if anyone else can or not, but I didn't include that in my things because I can't really tell. But again, so that anyone that's still, the family, it's just, I mean, when are they going to give it up, right? Nobody's talking like that. Very few people are, but they have their reasons for doing it, I guess, and none of them are involving the girls or justice, in my opinion. So. But again, we'll leave them be. Free platform. You can do what you want on there. All right. Let's see what everyone had to say here. Hard for me to ignore the state referencing an open court to the judge about the other actors. Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know what the reasoning for that is, short of you not actually having other people. But again, I'm not that versed in the courts, but I just can't see how that's a tactic. Some people say, oh, that's a tactic. I just don't understand how it's a tactic. We're talking about confusing people. Holy shit. Yeah, well, that's we learn from Delphi. People love writing letters, right? And, it's kind of like the Shawshank warden. You write your letters. I'll even mail them for you. But by the time it gets to the courtroom, like we're going to be in Allen County and Judge Gall has this, it's too late to change the law. If you think it's a bad law, whatever involving this case, did they get in prison someone charged of an infamous crime because there's nowhere to put them and there's nowhere safe, then you need to write legislators in Indiana. All the judge can do is look at the law and say, this is what it means. This is my opinion on what it means. Boom, here you go. And that's it. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I quit reading them a long time ago, actually, the letters from people. It's just not my thing. that was the reasoning. It's very interesting. And again, we should have an answer for that too. We should absolutely have an answer for that. Thank you, Miranda. We will try them. Cinnamon muffins. We never had those before. Let's see how far behind in the chat I am. Only 20 minutes. Congratulations, Ashley, for selling another car. Very talented Ashley Schaefer. Like to have fun with things. No, there really hasn't been. Yeah, so it's interesting. What will happen if the judge, and this will be for law shows more than my show here. Hey, you get some attorneys together. Okay, if the judge says none of these people, we're allowed to argue any of these people had anything to do with it, what's the defense going to do next? And if the judge says all these people could come in, or some of these people, what would they do next? How would that matter? Like if the judge says all these people, there's no, some other guy, some other dude did it. You have no evidence of anything. One guy's on a goddamn camera at work. Would that be the point where would they plea bargain? And I know some people would say, well, why would they try to plea bargain there? To really plea bargain from a strength, place of weakness. You came this far, if the attorneys are thinking like, hey, I want to have my day in court, and you're not on TV, are you going to go to court and just get pounded, by your object? And you got to understand most things in court when they're objected or when the defense makes these motions up, most of them are ruled no anyway. So it'll be interesting, but I don't know. I don't know the justice system that well and how court things work. So I'm just kind of learning on the fly. But I was very excited to share that with all you guys. Yeah, check out Ashley Schaefer. What I played early in the video. So if you missed it, go ahead back and watch it. And if after this, 15 minutes, 8 o'clock, you got Fig and Gray Hughes. Should be very interesting. Check that out. This is why I'm screaming to get the PCA without Sarah's statement. Yeah, but it was weird, though, the way that they treated Betsy, I think, too. But, yeah, I agree with you, too, Frosty. I do. And, the 40 cal bullet is, if that's all they would have had, I'd have been like, you know what, I'm not really sure of this evidence. And I would be like a prospective juror because I'm not a huge ballistics guy or I have guns in the house I don't carry. But it would be hard for me to kind of understand that evidence and maybe believe it. I'd be more apt to not believe it because the gun wasn't fired. But I guess it kind of maybe depends on your experts at that point. But if you put that with the preponderance of evidence, everything else, he said he was there. He has no alibi. He owns the same clothes. And again, that's everyone in Indiana could say that. But if you add that to all this other stuff, you're stacking up 7 or 8 things. I gave you 6, probably could have went 10 or 12, and really kept the speculation down, really. I wanted to share the box thing because I think that box is going to come back and be huge. I think that he had some kind of something memorializing the scene, digital evidence, something. I think he took pictures of something. He did something because he's a visualizer. And at the end of the day, why he took pictures, people say, was it a snuff film? Was it this? Was it that? I don't know. I don't think it was, but I don't know. I couldn't come here and tell you for sure, hey, it wasn't that, because I just don't know. I'd give you, hey, there's the Ruckus Man. I'll give you all what I think. We'll see if I'm right. If I'm not right, it doesn't really matter. Move on to the next case and go from there. Carol, good weather in Pennsylvania, man. Absolutely beautiful. I work tomorrow. I think we'll get a little bit of rain. Yeah. And you know what? Going down there too, and I was in a Discord thing talking, and some people were asking questions about the video. I shared a video where Frosty and we found the spray paint, the R on the tree, and the location and the scene. And if you watch Fig's video and it shoots, I never really thought of them being called shoots, but that's what they are on the ground. They almost look like pieces of hay, but they are little twigs that fall off a tree and they die on the ground and they become almost like as light as like a straw. Does it mean it makes sense? Like a straw you put in your drink or a piece of straw, a piece of hay. and they are everywhere. And I noticed I got them like around my legs and stuff like that. I wore long pants, and as you're walking through, you know, they're not sticking to you. They had a couple of the little jagger thingies there, like the balls that stick to you, but you're just, as you're going up, you're just walking. It's like you walk through almost like a hayfield. So that's very interesting. There. I'm no expert on odinist. So I would go to what Jeffrey Turco said, and he said that was bullshit. I'll surmise you what he said. He said it was bullshit. He said that they that's not what they said at all. It's not what he said. What they tried to say, what he said. They cried, oh, we need him. Where is he? Oh, yeah, he said this. No, we put this out. No, he didn't say that. Oh, we don't want to hear what he has to say now. So again, the Major Click thing's very interesting to me. I don't know what's going on with him. What's up, Grizz? How are you, my friend? Opening by Grismatically Clever. I don't know if I mentioned that before. What's up, Clever? How are you? Ron Logan was a white-haired giant. He was a tall guy. Yeah, his son yelled at us. Well, I couldn't really blame him. I don't understand and argue with him. I mean, I'm on a guy's property, right? So I say, hey, we're leaving. Yeah, the whatever motion and limit, whatever the hell it's called. It's again, it's whereas, therefore, just say what you mean, attorneys. You know, maybe that's they teach you the first day at law school. But like, okay, listen, we're gonna let you in on something here. Or maybe it's the last day at law school. Make sure just the real attorneys know it. Hey, all right, we could write all this stuff way easier than we could, but you know what? Piss on them. They'll need us to figure out what the hell we're saying. Well, really, there's only 3 words that matter, but we'll put a bunch of whereases and we'll put Esquire after our name. No one knows what that means. They'll think, oh, Esquire, you know. I don't know if that's what attorneys do or not. I don't think I have any attorneys in my chat. I think my chat's more blue collar. Anyone else thinking about going up to the trial, by the way? I don't know. I haven't watched too much of him. I heard people say that a lot, but to be honest with you, I can't say that I've seen it yet. So maybe I'll see it tonight. But yeah, I don't care. I mean, he has Fig on, so I like it. I'll definitely check it out. And I think the chat will probably be probably problematic for his moderators tonight. I don't know how many he has, but I could see a lot of people getting after in his chat. It's almost like box. Yes. I believe that was the term that they used in box, not basket. Not a spirit box, no. Or a fart box. But a wicker box. Not Wiccan, wicker. Has anyone in Indiana joined the protests? Are you talking about the school Mustang, the IU? If it is, if you're talking about the was it Iran, whoever's fighting, I honestly don't follow the national news anymore. I'm actually kind of proud of it. I kind of feel dumb now, but the war that's going on, there's always seems to be something going on over there, Gaza and whatever else, whoever's going at it. I don't know who's at fault. I don't even have an opinion on it. I just know they've been fighting for a long time. But Frosty said yes at IU. There was something going on. I don't know what was what. Oh, yeah. Well, they're going to continue to melt down. They'll continue to melt down because, you know, instead of just saying, hey, you know what? I thought it was them and it wasn't. Probably a couple of them will maybe even take it to their graves. I don't know. But how many people are going to keep watching it if you know that, like, so again, if the defense isn't bringing it up, they're part of the conspiracy, right? Or are they just inept at being defense attorneys? I don't think they're inept defense attorneys at all. I think they're both pretty fucking good. They're attorneys. You know, they're going to have a little bit of hubris. Grandma Mom like is a self-proclaimed attorney. I'm not that. Frosty will be there as much as he can. It's interesting too. I bet you'd have people on maybe like the night before or 2 nights before, anyone that's going, like, when you're going to the hearing, are you picking specific days? Maybe like, okay, I think so-and-so is going to testify. I want to be there that day. Or are people just going to go for the whole length of the trial? Get a hotel, Airbnb. If there's ways up there and other people are from around there or know people that have links to Airbnbs or whatever, if there's places up there, please share them with your friends here on YouTube, share them in the chat, email them to me. I'll share it on my page, put it in a comment somewhere for anyone that wants to go. If they know deals, like I said, we talked about Frank before, anybody got, any veteran discounts or stuff like that, or whatever to help as many people get there. Because at the end of the day, they're going to come back because this isn't televised. So they're going to come back and be like, hey, this is what happened. And I think during this trial, my guess, my prediction is during this trial, every night you're going to sit down, eat your dinner and sit down, and it's going to be wars on YouTube. Oh, the defense shredded them today. Oh, prosecution made them look silly. And you're going to have no one change their mind on Delphi. Maybe very few people will change their mind with the evidence. If Richard Allen's found guilty, it was all corrupt, they wouldn't let him do this or that. And despite what the law says, people are going to say, they're not letting him put on a fair trial. Here's the law, which I never knew existed until about 10 days ago, right? So I'm trying to share it with you. So if people say, hey, they can't do this, it's the law. It's just the law. It's no one's being mean or unjust to anybody. That's just what it is. They need to show stuff. Now, maybe they have stuff. Maybe they have more than we've seen, like Brett will say to you on the prosecutor's podcast. Maybe there's more than we've seen. But from what we've seen, now it's kind of like shoes on the other foot, right? Well, the PCA didn't have very much. Well, now's the defense's time to say, okay, we have stuff to show you. But what will be interesting about this hearing that they're going to have supposedly for this, what can they argue? Some other guy did it, defense, some other dude did it, as they say, defense, is they're going to have to put some cards on the table and say, listen, we have X, X, and that. So Elvis Fields, even though that you researched him and vetted him out and you said he wasn't involved in this, you took his DNA, you did all this stuff and said he wasn't involved, we have this on top of that. Well, it's going to be interesting because if they have something else, the state already has to have it, right? Same the defense. If they produce discovery through their investigations, they have to show. They don't have to give work product, but hey, we found this, report that was lost, or we took Elvis Fields and did this, and this is what we have, or whatever the case. But at the end of the day, none of these people are going to be anywhere near this crime. I just think it's going to be, you watch people go from, it's Ron Logan, it was the family, it's Elvis Fields. It's kind of like whatever the defense is pushing that day, people jump around. I have more respect for people that say all along, even if we disagree, I think it was Ron Logan all along. Well, we'll disagree on that. I could tell you it wasn't Ron Logan on the bridge by the height, by the legs, by the pants, all that. I can't say that that's Richard Allen for sure, but I can tell you that's not Ron. That's not someone as tall as me. I could tell you that, in my opinion, unequivocally. But I can't say that particular person is that particular guy. The other thing about the profile, which I didn't write down in here, if that second 2-year press conference, they used the BAU, it was scripted by the BAU, like Jim Clemente says, who I'm going to believe before almost anyone on YouTube, unless they're current FBI or FBI to know something that he doesn't know, then I'll be like, okay, maybe he got it wrong. Is he's going to change the way he looks. And man, didn't Richard Allen change the way he looked? Right? He changed the way he looked. He got that big ZZ top beard. He didn't have any of that before. So he really went out. And one of the other things we talk about with trial is, are we ever going to hear Richard Allen talk? Is he going to speak? I would assume at some motion he's going to have to speak. Do you understand these charges? Whatever. Yes, but yes or no. You would think it would be suicidal for them to put Richard Allen on the stand. But I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know enough about that to see that, but we're going to see. We're going to see really quick. You know what I mean? So if there is going to be a plea deal, let's say that's going to be happening really soon, I would assume. It would have to. And if you go back and watch the prosecutor's thing that I've been hyping up and I mentioned a million times because it's a fantastic channel, and please go watch them. They expect a delay, and they'll say, it's because of the state. They made us do this or do that. But to save face. But at the end of the day, if you need a delay to put on what you consider a proper defense for Richard Allen, then fine, take a delay. God, we've been 7 years. I'm not a family member, and it's not my family or my case, so to speak, but I would think they would get the same way. You know, why wait 7 years and rush and then they come back and have an appeal? We didn't have time for this. We didn't have time for that. We didn't have time because they didn't turn over to Discovery. It's been sitting somewhere for a week. We care so much about Richard Allen. We send our little intern up there to interview him. We don't even go up there. So, you know, it's kind of like a little bit of Artie Lang going with some of their paperwork. Wah. You know, the guy needs to get a fair trial. The guy needs to be, I think he'll be adjudicated guilty. And whatever they do after that, the state of Indiana, death, life in prison, whatever it is. And then they need to make sure they have this right. So when they do appeal, and I'm sure people will be in line for appeal because there's an audience for it. There's a big audience for it. We're just looking at YouTube. There's Facebook. There's other outlets that people are, you know, hey, Richard Allen's getting screwed, getting railroaded. Well, not really. Some of the laws that you think are wrong, they could be wrong. We might agree that some of the laws are fucked up. But at the end of the day, that's the law. It's no railroad. The Supreme Court, the defense, Tobe Lesenby, you know, all these people aren't in on some conspiracy to get Richard Allen, to find him guilty, to cover up for Odinists or whatever else. You know what I mean? It's not the case. I don't think so. I feel very, very confident in saying that. And, you know, we'll see. But I'm going to say bye to everybody here in the final 2 minutes. Get you out of here. I think it's on Gray Hughes' channel, him and Fig. But, man, that chat's going to be jumping, right? What else you guys got to do? No Monday Night Football. Yeah, there's some good baseball on today. Thank you, 63 Clocks. Very much appreciated. You guys are great. I plan on getting out here at 7:59. So look at Israeli and Palestine. Yeah. Didn't Iran somehow get involved in it this time too? I know that's been going on. War's been going on for a long time. I don't know how to stop it, you know. I don't know. Personally, I would think I'm going to go off of what like the prosecutor podcast said. I think there's going to be a delay, and I think it's okay. But again, I'm not the best dude to ask court things. I'm going to get out of here at 7:59. Go check out Gray Hughes and my man Fig. Check out Fig's new video. Check out the podcast, or the prosecutor's podcast. Hopefully, anyone that wanted to give me anything, send it up to Frank. If you know anybody that has anything Airbnb wise up there for Frank and other YouTubers that are going up there to check out the trial for us to report back, let them know. Email me, share it on my page, Kevlar148@gmail.com. I'm getting out of here. I got water tonight because it's hot and I love it. My arthritis feels good. I'm going to go watch Gray Hughes. I'm going to watch Fig, and I'm going to smoke a bowl. And then before I go, I'm going to say tentacles, and I love you all, and I thank you for spending your night with me. Coach Kev, out.